Hello and welcome to Craft Beerstream number 4. I'm Tim.
And I'm Claire. A 4th episode.
I know, I know.
4 whole weeks, that's nearly a month.
Hey, we've got this far, I guess.
Got this far, we managed to work out the live stream, so it's all moving forward.
Yeah, so if you haven't watched that last week, please do. Sound's not amazing, so we're working on that. We're investigating the technical side and how we can make it sound better.
Yes, but we're back to just the two of us this week.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're hoping to have a guest either next week or the week after to join us. And we may even live stream that. It depends on who it is.
I mean, I say it's the two of us. Darcy's here as well.
Yeah, she is.
Our little pub dog, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, if you haven't met Darcy, you can see her on her own Instagram, Black Lab Darcy, or you can check her out on the website because there's a whole little section about her.
She's looking at us now, so we keep saying her name.
So today we are going to follow the same format with three of our picks for the week. I mean, considering the weather we've had, I don't know whether it's been like where you are, but it has been an absolute
sweltering,
scorcher.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really nice to be here because we've got the air conditioning on. I've been so grateful for that.
Yeah, although we can't really afford it because it's extortionately expensive. So you know we're going to put it on for a little bit and then we'll see how it goes. But today we're going to start with our very first drink today, our first beer. But it's not actually a beer today.
Yeah, so actually I think talking about Darcy is a really good segue into our first drink, and especially talking about the weather. Like, it is definitely type of weather where you want a nice, cool, crisp, refreshing drink. And the first one that we've picked is a cider. Yeah,
so it's a cider that we've had on since the beginning, since we opened at Craft. And it is a award-winning cider maker.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Birdbarker from Ross-On-Wye Cider and Perry Company, who, when we opened Craft Republic, we knew that we wanted to have a cider on draft. And it was around about that time that Ross-On-Wye won the BBC Food and Farming Awards, wasn't it? So 2019,
yeah,
just
that's
when we were planning our lineup,
yeah.
And they were named the best drinks producer in the UK.
Yes, they were. Yeah, and what we were looking for is a really good medium, sparkling,
easy drinking
cider that wasn't Strongbow or any of the main brands, because as you may know or you don't know, we don't sell main brands apart from about 4 in the whole entire bar. Some of the necessary evils that we have to sell, but you know, we always try and find alternatives, and we wanted something that if you came in looking for a cider and you hadn't heard about it, you would still really enjoy it. So I'm going to go and pour Birdbarker.
Yeah.
And yeah, we can chat about.
Give it a go. It starts off with a cider.
Oh yes. We're not always about beer, and that's the thing. We do have 5 or 6 different ciders on top of Birdbarker pouring at all times. So we do have a diverse range, and we even have Perry at the moment as well. So.
Yeah, and we've always got fruited ciders and things in the fridge as well. For our fruited ciders, we tend to work with Garden Cider, who are another sort of community-based cider company. Basically what they do is they collect fruit, apples and the other fruit that goes into their ciders from sort of their community. And then that goes into their cider making, and then they will always donate some of the cider back into the community as well. So it's a really nice community-based project, sort of deals a lot with zero waste and stopping fruit that would have gone to waste and gone to landfill, so rescues that. But Birdbarker for us has always been a staple. So they're Ross-On-Wye, so they're not too far away from us. The name Birdbarker, so it's Ross-On-Wye Cider Company are based on Brewing Farm, which is a family-run farm. It's mainly a father and son operated affair. But their farm dog, Summer, is known for going around and chasing all the birds on the farm and barking at them. So Birdbarker is named after their crazy farm dog who runs around barking at the birds all day. Which is quite nice.
Darcy doesn't do that. She does bark, but only when we annoy her too much, I think.
I mean, it's a good job at the moment as well, because we've got sort of it's seagull season as well, seagull baby season. So we've got a couple of baby seagulls sort of fallen out of their nests and trying to learn how to fly and things.
Well, one landed in our front garden and is currently camped under my van. How long it will last, I don't know. And the other one,
I was watching it learn to fly today, though. It's quite cute. It's very noisy.
And the other one fell off the back of the roof and ended up in our neighbour's garden, which unfortunately I can still hear it there. And their poor little puppy Dachshund
next door,
is literally barking every time he goes
Pan
there.
is definitely a bird-barker.
Yes, he
unlike
is.
Darcy, who's not.
She likes chasing them. She does like chasing them.
So this is a medium sparkling cider.
Yep.
So
5.9.
yes.
I think it started at 5.6 when we first had it in, but I think obviously as they produce it each year, it changes.
Yeah, and I've noticed some of the bottles
ABV.
on their website are 5.2. So there's obviously some variation in sort of the technique that they're using. But I mean, it's medium. It's a medium cider. It's sparkling. It's made with real cider apples. They're unsprayed cider apples, hand-picked from the orchard down Ross-On-Wye. It's a really beautiful cider. It's really easy drinking despite the slightly higher ABV.
Yeah, and I mean it's made with wild yeast as well, so which is quite an interesting thing in terms of cider.
But we're seeing more of that now, though, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think it's not just in cider, in the beer world as well. I mean, obviously, Beer Co. That's how they kind of started. They were very much focused on using wild yeast in order to produce some of their first beers.
And it's quite a big thing in the wine world as well, sort of, this low intervention side. I mean, obviously wild yeast, so things like Brettanomyces, classically in wine production have been an undesirable flavour, but now we're seeing it sort of being added in a more controlled way, and it's got this sort of low intervention, more natural production side of things.
Yeah. I think obviously the farmhouse style of beer as well is a thing. I think we talked about when we had one of the early pollies before, and that was a farmhouse style, and you get that funky notes. You get that. Sometimes it can be unappealing smells, but actually, what it adds to the end drink is an interesting side to it.
Yeah, because we had Wild Disco on draft as well recently, which is from Nightingale Cider Company, and that's produced in that sort of low intervention using wild yeast. It's definitely, particularly with ciders, seems to be a really sort of common or certainly up and coming and more desirable effect as well.
Yeah, a little Paloma is doing a lot with wild yeast, and then we've got people like what was the one where we had the saison? That was Little Earth Project. Yes.
Oh yeah, so they had that
barrel aged.
The barrel aged one.
Yeah, which was one of three. So some of the beer went into wine barrels, white wine, red wine, and I think whiskey barrels. And they're very keen on wild yeast, and you get these really complex flavours. So
wild yeast, that's a lot more about the yeast that's naturally occurring in the atmosphere.
Yeah, so rather than the typical process of where they will pitch yeast and add it to the mash, this is letting what's in the air land and do its magic.
Let nature do its thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the key to
in a controlled way.
Yeah, I mean, the key to that is ensuring that everything else is scrupulously clean, so you're not introducing bad yeast or bacteria into your product, but the wild yeast that sit naturally in. Yeah, I mean, it's no different to making a sourdough starter, and that's only done by literally letting it open, sit in the air, and then putting the right conditions for it to actually work its magic and actually do its thing. So, right, let's give it a try.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's super fruity.
Yeah.
Like really appley, and you do get that wild yeast. Like it does add this. It's really difficult to explain, but it has got a very particular taste, which I'm quite a fan of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good level of sweetness. There's not the stupid acidity of some of the ciders you get. It really kicks you in the back of the throat, but or the back of the mouth. But it's I would say it's quite a nice step if you've never tried craft cider, or if you've only ever drunk the kind of mainstream brands. Actually, this is a great little sort of step towards that.
And because it's lightly sparkling as well, so if you don't want a still cider, which we have got plenty of as well, but if you do want that slight carbonation, this is just sparkling enough, isn't it? It's not got loads of bubbles to it, but it's just like, it's not going to make you feel gassy or kind of that. It's just enough to just lift it and lighten it a little bit.
And it's not too acidic that if you have a few pints of it, you're going to be like going, with some ciders you're just like, I can't drink anymore because I feel like I'm just full of acid. It's not like that at all.
No, and it's it's proper apples, isn't it? Like, you can taste.
Oh yeah, there's no concentrate. It's not that fake apple flavour. It is proper apples. It's fully you get all of everything that you'd expect from biting into a Granny Smith or
I was going to say Granny Smith is
so you've got the acidity of a Granny Smith, but without. And you've almost got the sweetness of some of the slightly sweeter varietals of apples as well. I think that's down to the way that they blend and they handpick the apples that they use from their orchard in that. So I think it works really, really well. I'm really enjoying that. And what I like about it as well is it's obviously a lot of our bag box is kept at room temperature, and I mean, I'm sure, because I've started to get into cider, and I was never really a cider drinker, but recently in this hot weather I've been quite enjoying it. The problem is I really enjoy the still cider, but I don't like it at room temperature. I like my drinks to be cold, so I'm sure there's a few cider drinkers out there that may shoot me for wanting to put ice cubes in like still bag-in-box cider, but I do. And
especially when it's this warm.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Whereas obviously our Birdbarker is in our walk-in fridge, so it's 4 degrees, and so it's an absolute perfect sort of perfect drink for a really, really hot summer's day.
I mean, for me, this is a super accessible cider. I'm sure there are. I mean, I know there are lots of incredible and weird and wacky and kind of going off on different directions. But I think if you just want a good solid medium sparkling cider, Birdbarker is just spot on. I think.
Yeah, definitely. But I think and this is the thing. It's just on a day like this, perfect. But I guess that kind of leads us into this whole thing with other sort of drink styles and also gateways, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm starting to find, particularly through the bar, that a lot of our cider drinkers, when they, we speak to a lot of people who sort of say, I'm going to have cider because I don't like beer. To which obviously I think our natural response is, well, you can't just say you don't like beer, you just haven't found the beer.
You haven't had the right one yet.
Yeah, you haven't made your right beer yet.
No.
And certainly for cider drinkers and for fruity cider drinkers, I always find that sours are a really good kind of gateway. Yeah, you get the acidity and the sourness of a sour that kind of really lends itself as a gateway for cider drinkers into beer. And it's something that we find it's not just with like cider drinkers and recommending sours. It's also our lager drinkers that come in and they'll drink our on-track lager, which is ours and it's always on tap. We'll do a review of that one time, I reckon. Yeah.
We should do. But there's also we have certain beers on that we class as what we call gateways, and we sort of say, okay, so you like this. I think it was that Bone Machine, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Yeah. A while ago, that was.
I was like, I think it was before the first Christmas. It was before that Christmas lockdown. So it was at the end of 2020, or no, 2019. No, 20. It was the end of 2020, and we had this one that, for me, I was a bit like, this is too much like lager, but it was It was a hot beer, but it had that whole lager vibe, and do you know what? It turned a number of our sort of hardcore lager drinkers into craft beer drinkers.
But I think it's about understanding the different profiles of the different beers and different beer styles, and then if you like, one particular thing, then it's fairly likely that you'll like something else if it shares a similar characteristic, which is where our team are really good at understanding the beers that we have on, the process, the hops that are used, the yeast that's used and the style it's produced, and being able to say, okay, well, if you like this, then maybe you should try this.
Yeah, and we encourage them all to try every beer that goes on. So
it's really hard life.
They really enjoy that part of it, because they get to talk about the beers, because they know exactly what we're pouring, and they understand it. Because we're not about technical jargon, we're about sort of like something with a soft mouthfeel, or a hazy, or something that's fruity, and the team are able to recommend that, because we look at the best way of kind of sort of explaining that to someone without it feeling pretentious or thing. Because I remember going into bottle shops really early on in my sort of
craft beer
journey, and I was made to feel really like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I didn't. That was the whole point. I wanted recommendations and an explanation on why, but it was almost like you don't know the difference between a cryo hop and double dry hopping, and that's okay. You don't need to know about that. You just need to.
New England's for your West Coast.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to know that. I want to tell you what I like to drink, and get a recommendation, and that's what we do. So. It's a good way to step into our second one.
Yeah, so we're gonna try a sour now, aren't we?
Yes.
It's interesting as we talk about that, that gateway. I've also found that sours for white wine drinkers seem to be a quite nice kind of segue. But again, if you talk about beers that use a Nelson Sauvin hop, Nelson Sauvin is related to the Sauvignon Blanc grape. So if you like Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, they're both New Zealand varietals. So if you like Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, the likelihood is if something's got Nelson Sauvin in it, then you're probably going to like it. Brings a sort of a grapefruity, white winey characteristic. And I think as well with some of the sours, particularly if you go for more of a grapefruit flavour or a stone fruit type flavour, particularly if you are a Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc drinker and you like that tropical kind of note in your wine, then it's always worth looking at a sour, particularly if it is grapefruit, gooseberry, stone fruit, tropical. Because the likelihood is that they're fairly similar, and you might surprise yourself. You might quite like it. I mean, I'm a Sauvignon Blanc drinker, and I love sours, but particularly in that citrus end of the spectrum, which is where this one is right up my street.
Yeah, I really like my citrus. I like my citrus sours, but I also really like my old school original sour mash sours. I just like just beer that's been naturally soured. I really enjoy that. But this one is one that's also absolutely perfect for the weather that we're having at the moment. I mean, yeah, at least it's a tiny bit cooler today. We even had thunderstorms and rain today, so that kind of cut through a little bit, but it is so close. It is so close.
It's really muggy.
And this is like the perfect sort of antidote to that, I think. So we are going to be having the Cloudwater, pineapple, passion fruit, gentle breeze. It's 4.5%, so again, quite nice and sessionable.
So now this one is pineapple and passion fruit?
Yeah, pineapple and passion fruit, yes.
So it is definitely in that slightly more citrus side of things. Pineapple's a really interesting one, because we had a couple of pineapple-based sours in, and the first one we had, I think it might have been, I don't know, we had one of those Brew Yorkers where I had their pineapple cubes, didn't we? And it always makes me think of, when you have tinned pineapple and you have the syrup in the bottom of a tin of tinned pineapple. So you've got pineapple notes, but it's not full on in your face pineapple.
Yeah, I do like the whole slightly, the zinginess of a pineapple because it's got that slight tartness as well.
Yeah, it's crisp, it's tart.
Yeah, slight sweetness.
It's not an overpowering flavour though. It's not
no.
really dominant.
And then I expect the passion fruit to give you slightly a creamier feel.
Yeah, and again, bringing that slightly tropical note with it, a little bit more sweetness to it, a bit more impact on the flavour.
Yes, so this is a fruited, obviously they've actually added pineapple and passion fruit into that, so like we're expecting big juicy notes to that.
I'm a huge fan of passion fruit in anything, so particularly in beers. I do love, especially in sours, because I just think that passion fruit is sort of, it's got that sweetness, it's got that tartness, it's got really good flavour with it that just lends itself so well to sour.
Yeah, well, see, for me, mango kind of wins out of the two. If I'm picking mango is more where
if you
I'm
have
going.
passion fruit and mango sour.
Yeah, I guess that would work. But I'm also a lime and lemon, orange, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm the person with the packet fruit gums that likes the lime, the lemon, and the orange. The blackcurrant and the strawberry one I just give it to Claire because I'm not interested in those. I want that.
We work well together though. You don't fight over the packets of sweets.
Well, you're lucky I give them to you. But let's give it a go. But like as you saw when I put it down, it had a really good, nice head. Like, look at the colour on it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, nice bit of haziness to it. Not too insane.
I mean, it smells. Even just on the nose, it's starting to make my kind of, my acidity levels are starting to twinge.
Yeah, I got that straight away. Some of the sourness. I mean, some sours, like, don't sniff them. Just don't sniff them. They taste better than they smell. But this straight away.
Very fresh, very clean.
Yeah, very clean.
Noodles of that tart zinginess.
Yeah, it almost twitches my nose. That's like
it's making me dribble.
you can smell the sourness of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you explain that, but I can smell the sourness of that. So let's try.
Oh, I love that.
So straight away, not lip puckering at all.
No.
There's a tartness and the sourness, but it's not insane on the sourness.
It almost tastes like there's an ever so slight salinity to it as well. There is a little bit of a saltiness note.
Yeah. I can see that. There's also I think I was right on the creaminess or the slight softness of the passion fruit.
Yeah, it's there, but it's not. With some of the fruited sours, the volume of fruit in them almost makes them slightly pulpy.
Oh, this isn't.
It's not. This is a lot cleaner, a lot
clean, bright.
It's very fresh, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's not
fresh, and that makes it really easy drinking. Obviously, being 4.5 as well, that's even better.
But with some of the sours that we've had, I'm particularly thinking the likes of Juice from Brew York, which the Independent just named as one of the kind of the best sours for 2022, which is brilliant. It is a banging beers with Vault City, and our.
Brew York.
Yeah, Brew York with Vault City.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
And then our favourite Taffa from Gypsy Hill, which we've got coming
back.
Yeah,
we have. We actually have it in the fridge as well. So
excited.
So on keg, which is ready to go on.
And that's a Mai Tai sour, so it's like pineapple. It's like, and I remember when we had it on keg the first time, and as you got to the end of the keg, what was pouring out of it was just this
pulp,
beery pulp. And there was me and Dave just almost with glee, just finishing off kind of the dregs in the keg, because it's you could stand a spoon up in it. It was phenomenal. Like melted beery sorbet.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, most traditionally, 10 years ago, you'd probably find that everybody would have been throwing that away, but now it's like.
Me and Dave were fighting over it.
Nightmare for our lines, absolute nightmare for our lines. They have to be cleaned afterwards because there is so much
do you remember that
fruit pulp through it?
Remember that Viva la Guavolution from Brew York as well, which was guava based, and that was, oh my god, the colour on that was.
Oh, it wasn't the prettiest beer,
but it was. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. But
then you talk about those that are these really heavily fruited. There's a lot of pulp. I know from speaking to the Brew York guys, they said particularly when you work with papaya, it really does add. The amount you have to add in and what it can add to the beer. And I guess when we're talking about pineapples, we talked about that almost pineapple syrup and passion fruit. These are not pulpy fruits either. So I guess that
but also you can create these really crisp, bright, vibrant, zesty beers without necessarily making them like a smoothie. And you know, there is a place for that. But I quite like these sort of almost easy drinkers as well. And sometimes you don't want to be wading through a beer. You just want to enjoy something that's just sit and sip
in the sun,
out in the beer garden or in your own
Put a
garden.
little tropical umbrella in that for me.
Yeah, well, we can do that, I guess.
And this is Cloudwater as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't normally think of Cloudwater as being a sour beer producer. I think it's a fairly recent kind of foray into them. I mean,
I don't know about that.
Cloudwater, well, I mean, you know, so Paul from Cloudwater was here earlier in the year. Cloudwater were our first tap takeover, and actually he was with us in BeerX when we won our award as well. Like we like Paul. And we really like Cloudwater. Again, when we started planning Craft Republic and we started getting excited about the types of breweries and the beers we were going to have on tap, you know, Cloudwater were always one of the breweries that were kind of
I think it's safe to say that one of the sort of the grandfathers or the godfathers of craft beer in kind of really elevating it in the UK. So, I mean, I'm sure some of you might not agree with that, but that's kind of how we feel about it. I mean, they were one of the first to be kind of really pushing the boundaries, and they were consistently producing outstanding beers during the early times. So, and also they're super down to earth as well.
They are. They're lovely.
They stand
Very
for
lovely.
good things. They're doing good stuff. They haven't sold out. They haven't done all the stuff that certain other individuals
they did some
have done.
dubious stuff with Tesco's, but actually I think when you look at the collabs and and they partnered with the likes of Rock Leopard and Queer Brewing Co, and a lot of that was about bringing those breweries onto the supermarket stage.
This is always the bone of contention for us, because obviously as an independent bottle shop and bar, we often get the question, why is but I can buy that beer in a supermarket, and it's like, actually you can't buy that beer. I understand why the independent breweries are doing that. It's they'll buy a huge amount of something and they generally produce it exclusively for that location or that supermarket. But what it does do is give them that cash injection to be able to produce the beers that they want to produce. So I'm beginning to kind of, at first I was very much, when we first opened, we had an ethos of saying, if they go into a supermarket, we won't sell them anymore. If we actually stuck to that at the beginning, like we wouldn't, there was half of the breweries here that we couldn't sell.
Have Northern Monk, we couldn't have Vault City, we couldn't have Cloudwater. I mean, there's so many.
Yeah, there's so many of them that have done it. But I think it's just an education piece in terms of explaining that, yes, okay, you can buy that, but generally they've had to compromise in a certain way, or they produce it exclusively at a price point that fits for a supermarket to sell. But actually, if you want to really try that brewery in a really great way, come and drink the beer that they sell to us. There is an argument that you could damage your own reputation by doing that, but I mean, look, if it introduces somebody to a beer or a brewery that they then come to someone like us and go, this is amazing, and taste something else that they've had and go, how come it tastes different here? Then there's a conversation to be had.
I do think, though, I mean, there is the risk, and I understand, there is it's great that more people are getting behind craft beer, and this is something that we've talked to lots of people about. We've talked to a lot of the breweries that are coming to do tap takeovers, and it's a shared ethos within the craft beer space, that it's sort of the more publicity, the more you can get it out there, the more people are drinking craft over drinking more mainstream and sort of the macros and things, then the better. But I do think if you want to dip your toe into craft beer and you go into maybe a supermarket and you pick a lower priced, a budget craft beer, and you taste that, and you think that if you think that's what all craft beer tastes like, that could be enough to put your craft beer for life.
That's fair. That's fair.
You think, what's everybody talking about? This is vile. I'll go back to.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword when we're in that situation. But I completely understand. I'm not only in this current climate, but as a business, as business owners, how that there is that you may need to compromise occasionally. I mean, for us, we're in a privileged position that we don't have to do that, but it is sometimes it's a necessary evil in order to progress.
I mean, we're mindful of price points, and we always make sure that we've got certainly the cans in the fridges that we always try to work with new and up and coming breweries that maybe don't have a big setup cost, so they can keep their price down. But we will always taste test new breweries and new beers before we bring them in. Again, it's a really hard job, but we wouldn't stock anything that we wouldn't drink ourselves.
Oh no, and we've stuck to that ethos from the beginning. We don't drink. We won't sell anything we wouldn't personally drink, and regardless of whether, like, it's just it's our reputation on the line, so we wouldn't do that. But yeah, I mean, I think
I really like this. I think it's not overly tart.
No.
It's got a lovely level of haziness to it. It has got a lovely head, as you said, and it's got good levels of carbonation on it. 4.5%. So sessionable. I think the combination of the pineapple and the passion fruit makes it really fresh, really clean. It's got lovely, fresh citrus stone fruit notes, but without being like overly sour. It's not, it doesn't make me kind of go. It's just kind of really nice.
Oh, definitely.
I would quite happily sit and drink that. And again, I think if you like white wines, if you like ciders, if you like that kind of, if you like the pineapple-y vibes, it's not, because it's not too sweet. And I think some of the sours that we've had, again, if they've got lactose in them or if they've got some other funky things going on, they can be on the sweeter side. This for me isn't very sweet either.
No, it's perfect.
It's
a perfect summer drink, and I think that's the thing. It's all about especially this week. It seems to be for us. It's about perfect drinks in the sunshine. I think it seems to be our theme, and wasn't necessarily intentionally created. It was just the kind of the vibe that we felt when we were picking the beers.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't intentionally created. There was something about walking into the bar, putting the air conditioning on, having a moment of thinking, should we just go and sit in Fran, our director fridge behind us, because she's kept at 4 degrees.
Yeah, because that's something we've seen a lot on the pub forums and around the industry.
Beer pouring in this heat can be challenging.
Yes, it really is. Traditional cellars versus Fran, our directorial system. Like, we're so glad that we invested the money we did to put her in and to research about directorial systems, because we've had not a single problem at all with her during this heat. She is an absolute champ. I mean, without her, we wouldn't have Craft.
We love you, Fran.
Yeah, we do love you, Fran. And if you don't know, Fran the Fridge is our directorial system. She's a walk-in fridge. Literally, this is the walk-in fridge. Behind here, just within 4-6 inches, whatever, 8 inches are the kegs. They're literally behind that wall, and because of that, we're not affected by any of this weather. A lot of traditional pubs are affected by it.
I remember when we were speccing out our cellar fit out, so that we discovered direct draw. Where were we? Was it in?
We're in Nice.
Nice, yeah. And we found this really lovely little tap room in Nice, and we asked them very nicely if we could see their setup, and they said yes, and they showed us.
Really poor French.
Yeah, their English was much better than
ours. Yeah. We tried, but it wasn't very good.
And literally, they just kind of took us behind the tap wall, and there was this long, thin walk-in fridge. And we just instantly fell in love with the idea. We could see the practicalities of it. You can operate really close to cold chain, which is obviously the breweries will make and store their beer at a certain temperature. And then, there are some couriers that also operate refrigerated vans. Unfortunately, we haven't found too many of them around here.
Not in this part.
There's a fantastic one, Jolly Good. They're great, and they kind of operate cold chain. Courier as well.
They're not into Wales.
No, they don't come here, sadly. And then obviously when our kegs arrive here, they go straight into our fridge, which is kept at a constant 4 degrees, but it's between 3.1 and just over 4, so it kind of it goes up and down between 3 and 4. But
3 and 5.
3 and 5, sorry, yeah. So it's kept at 4. So the point of that is that 4 degrees is the temperature that the breweries recommend that their beer is stored at, and that means that the taste of the beer isn't going to change from the way the brewery intends it. So for every degree above 4 degrees that the beer gets warmer, the taste profile will start to change, so the hops will start to degrade, particularly when you get above 5 degrees, you start to get this almost like stale type notes can be imparted, bit of bitterness on the aftertaste, and the longer something is left out, the more that profile can change. So for us, because we're putting it straight into 4 degrees, it means that the beer tastes as close as the brewery intended it.
Yeah, we're not flash chilling last minute. What it comes out is the temperature it's in the fridge.
Yeah, whereas if you're operating a cellar and normally it's around 8 degrees, but then maybe in this weather it's kind of pushing it up a little bit, maybe to around 10. Not only is obviously the taste profile of the beer going to be changing, but also the way that the beer performs in the lines is going to change as well. So you get this fobbing, so it comes at that warmer temperature, goes through a flash chiller, which then brings it down so that what you tastes cold.
And while there's pythons that try and keep the lines as cool as they can, the longer the lines, the harder it is to keep cool, and then you get the fobbing.
And especially if it's a warm temperature, you've got the beer sat in those longer lines for that period of time when it's not being poured. I mean, poor beer.
I feel sorry for it. I feel sorry for it.
And then you get this fobbing, which is where I think a lot of the older and more traditional pubs have been struggling in this weather.
Oh, in this heat, because while they got the cellars underground, they still try and keep it cool, but it just doesn't. It's really difficult with all the best will in the world, and some of them have external cellars as well, which unless you've got a really, really good cooling system, you're fighting a really, really, really hard battle. So we're very lucky in that respect.
Yeah, so I think originally we picked direct draw because it's the best for the beer. And I think when you're choosing craft beer and when you're working with some of the breweries that, the kegs are not, they're not inexpensive, are they? Certainly when you get towards Verdant's and some of the higher
all of them now, everything's gone up.
They're really expensive. So the last thing you want to do is if you're paying that price for a very carefully crafted product that somebody's taken a lot of time and effort into getting it to taste that particular way, and then you're spending money for that time and effort and those high quality ingredients, we want our customers to experience that beer at its absolute best. I think Brew York kind of said as well, they will make a beer that represents them, and if that beer isn't stored and poured and the hygiene isn't right, it doesn't necessarily reflect badly on the bar, it reflects badly on the brewery, because people will drink it and think, oh my god, is that what Brew York's beer tastes like? I don't want to drink that again. Whereas actually it can be the way that it's stored and poured that degrades the flavour profile. Let's go. We've whittled on enough about direct draw and all that, but we have our final beer today, which is from Rivington Brew Co. Way before Nirvana. It's a double dry hopped IPA, 6.2%. It's actually got a 4.09 Untapped rating, which if you guys follow, any of you guys follow Untapped, if you get anything close to 4, you're doing well. So it's right up there at the moment. Look at that.
Yeah, so it's
you can't see
so
through.
The style is a New England hazy.
You can't see through.
And
that.
look at the lacing on that. So I'm going to have to refer to this because it's using Idaho 7 Citra Mosaic Mosaic Cairo? No, not Cairo. Cryo. That's what I want to say. Mosaic Cryo and Idaho 7 Cryo. If you don't know what cryo hops are, they're basically concentrated concentrated pellets which are used to impart real intense hop flavour and aromas without adding astringency or vegetative material. So you get all of that crazy hotness without necessarily the flavour, without all of that craziness of the bitterness in it. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
And I like Rivington.
I love Rivington as well.
I think they're a fantastic brewery.
Yeah.
I've not yet met a Rivington beer that I didn't like.
No, we had Never Known Fog Like It. We've had
Smells Like a Deer, Runs Like a
John, which was their sour. Yeah, and that was a collab.
All I remember about that one is that it was during lockdown and we were canning it, and of course when we can our beers we hand dry all of the labels and that was just an absolute nightmare. Every time somebody ordered it, we was like, oh, come back to me 10 minutes later when I finished writing the label on it.
Yes,
it was a great beer.
These names are great, but they're a real nightmare when we're hand writing them, especially in busy service when everyone wants can fresh.
I like single syllable, one word beers. when you think Polly's are great for them.
So yeah, let's try and see.
So what's the ABV on this?
This is 6.2.
Okay, so a bit of a jump up from the 4.5 sour.
Yeah, so we went. Normally, I like to go up in ABV, but obviously the cider was a good way to jump into the sour. So we kind of stepped up, stepped back down, and then we've really gone.
I mean, you can already see with that. You look at the lacing and you look at the density when you roll it around the glass, and of course that's something that higher ABV will be contributing to. So when you talk about wine and you talk about the alcohol content causing legs with the beer, when you swirl it, you can see it's a heavier, it's a denser liquid.
Getting a lovely level of fruity notes here.
I mean, you say Citra and Mosaic in there, which are two of mine.
Citra Mosaic Cryo.
And Idaho 7
and Idaho 7 Cryo.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Literally thrown the book at it of hops.
That's a great combination.
Yeah, it is. Oh.
Already, I mean, it drinks like a 6.5% beer. So you can taste the alcohol, it's got the bitterness to it, it adds body, it adds weight to it, but in a really good way though.
There's not crazy bitterness in it, which you would expect from a double dry hop, to the fact that you would expect it to be quite on the bitter notes. But it's got a creamy, it's really creamy.
I think the bitterness is definitely there, but it doesn't hang around for too long.
No.
It's quite a clean finish on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get what it tasted there.
And you get the fruit notes on the nose and on the palate, especially at the front.
It's muted though.
Yeah.
I'm almost getting sort of pureed smoothie sort of fruity notes, if you know what I mean.
I mean, the hops that they've used.
Orange?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's orange there.
Yeah. The hops they've used, the Idaho 7, the Citra and Mosaic, are known for bringing that kind of slightly fruity qualities to a beer as well. So you would, from that hop blend, you would expect that, but it's not on your face, and it's really well balanced out with that bitterness as well.
Yeah, and I think that is delicious.
I think that's it's quite a grown-up beer, it's quite a sophisticated beer. There's kind of a lot going on there, but it's super well balanced. Obviously the higher ABV, it's got a rounded mouthfeel, so it's got that bitterness, but good fruitiness. But that's just a very...
Yeah, but subtle bitterness. I still maintain this is not a kick in your pants bitterness, because some are like super like,
and I'm not a fan of
bitter. I know, and exactly, you don't like that at all.
No, whereas I would quite happily sit and drink this.
But I mean, again, you would expect that from a New England versus a West Coast, which is obviously kick you in the face bitterness, and the New England style just doesn't kind of quite do that. Being the hazy side as well, I think it's a good representation.
So I've learned West Coasts don't necessarily do it for me.
No, they've got that clear, crisp, bright colour with that real kick in the face. Bitterness.
Yeah, I know. Like Dave says, our bar manager says, they're like a proper grown-up beer, and I get it. For me, I like softer. I like fruited notes. Anyone who's watched previous videos or who knows me will know I'm all about Polly's for all of that, and Daya as well. I'm not necessarily about bitter notes, grassier notes, greener notes. I like, as we talked about with the sour and, you know, with the wine grapes, you know, I like fruitier flavours. Not in your face stupid fruity, not in a kind of I want it to taste like an alco pop, but just I like there to be a slightly sweeter, softer note to it. And this delivers that to me without it being, you know, ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. I mean, this is outstanding. I mean, this is my standout for today by like a long way. I was excited to try this when our bar manager said that this was coming in. We were just like, yes, we need to try this. And also, I mean, a 4.09 on Untappd. I mean, take it how you will with Untappd scoring, but I mean, we very much. It's interesting to see how, because a lot of our customers use it, and how they score the beer versus what the average score is, and it's really interesting to see. And I mean, I'm not disappointed. I wouldn't be going, how did that get that score by any stretch of the imagination? I think that's absolutely delicious.
No, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Rivington.
Yeah, me too. Rivington, if you're watching, come on, come and do a tap takeover. but no, I think that.
We do actually have to say, you know, fair play after our video of the week in Newton Park got in touch, didn't they? And
they did.
Lovely, so
We're beginning to get a bit of interaction with some of the breweries and stuff, which is absolutely lovely. So I mean, obviously, please, if you're watching this for the first time, like and subscribe. Tick the bell so you're alerted whenever we upload a new video. I mean, like, I'm still learning like how to do this on YouTube, but normally there's like a little graphic that appears.
And we're going to try and do a little bit more of like the more individual beer reviews throughout the week rather than just the big ones as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because we've just started discovering like TikTok and Reels and things, which is a whole new world for us.
and we're just finding time. I mean, we have a lot of secret projects going on. Not so secrets if you're in the bar and you're local, but we have other projects.
And if you follow us on Instagram, they are not secret at all.
No,
if you look at our stories.
Yeah, we have a very very cool new project on the go that is going to take up a bit of my time because we have a very short period to turn it around and get it out.
But we are all over social, so YouTube is actually our newest. YouTube and TikTok.
If you know anybody that you think would be interested, please tell them about us and share the videos. It'd be great. But otherwise, I mean, if you're liking the content, that's amazing. If you want to see something, let us know. We're always open to suggestions, and so put a comment below. Let us know what you think. If you want to see something in particular, if you want us to maybe change up the format a little bit, we're open to it.
Swap seats so that I sit on that side.
But I mean, like, if you want us to do something different, then please let us know. We're happy to kind of try lots of different things.
And let us know what you're drinking. You know, we've said, you know, for us in this weather, this is where we're at. You know, we talked about doing another stout this week. Obviously, the ones we picked were just our favourites, and we talked a lot about seasonal drinking. So, you know, tell us what are you drinking? What are your favourite breweries? Yeah,
and please do that, whether it's here on our Instagram, on our Facebook. Just drop us a message, and we're happy.
We are Craft Republic. You'll find us
everywhere.
Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.
Yeah.
Literally TikTok. Everywhere. We are now everywhere. Yeah, not TikTok.
I like TikTok. I'm beginning to quite enjoy TikTok, and I never thought I'd ever get into it, but I have done.
So we'll leave you so we can go and make some TikTok reels now. You'll get to see Tim dancing along to Lizzo probably after this.
By this point, after the beers, who knows? Well, please.
We finished the 6.5, yeah.
Yes. So thank you ever so much again for watching our Craft Beerstream, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
It's one last one. Our good friends Craig and Amy from Kingin' It are currently walking the length of Wales, aren't they? Amy's pushing Craig in a wheelie bin?
That's correct.
To raise money for mental health charities, for Big Moose, who did some amazing work during lockdown, providing counselling and support to people for mental health challenges. It's a really moving story. But if you go to, it's We Are Kinging It, I think, again, find them on Instagram, find them on YouTube. They're raising money, they've got a target to hit. We've sponsored them, we've actually got, with Barry Island Spirits Co., we've got a big sticker on the front of the wheel.
So if you don't know, we also own Barry Island Spirits Co. We own our own spirits brand, and we've actually sponsored the wheelie bin to support them.
But hop over to Kinging It's channel to follow their journey. Go and have a look at Big Moose that does some great work.
We'll put the link in the description, so you can click for the Just Donates. Yeah, just good people doing great stuff for a brilliant cause, and it's good fun to watch as well. So and they might be on our channel at some point.
Yeah, but otherwise, Craig and Amy are doing amazing things through a great cause. We're fully behind you.
We love you,
especially pushing a wheelie bin in this heat. I totally like whatever, but yeah, please go and sponsor them. It's a really good cause. That's it.
Yeah, well, thank you, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.